What's going on, YouTube? My name is Tychus, and are you struggling with motion inputs in Marvel Tokon? More specifically, half circle forwards? Well, I just might have the fix for you. I call it modern weaving. Stick around to find out what I'm talking about, but you guys know what to do. Hit all those buttons down below, and let's get into it. Alright, so what is modern weaving? I don't know if there's a real term for this. I kind of just made it up, but it's basically combining motion input with modern input. The cool thing about this game is that you don't really have to choose between the two inputs. Like in Street Fighter, you kind of have to choose, when you pick your character, you choose between modern input and you choose between traditional motion inputs. In this game, you're kind of free to do whatever you want. And combining the two inputs, you kind of create this like hybrid combo structure that pretty much helps with like consistency in landing your combos. At least in my personal opinion, in my personal experience, I'm not that good at fighting games, and it's really helped me out staying consistent with my combos. But if you don't know, the difference between the command input and the motion input is that the damage difference is like very small in this game, and I think that's another good thing that makes this like modern weaving work out pretty nicely, right? So if I do the normal command input for Carnage's like fireball, which looks like that, it does 5k damage, and if I do the modern input, it does 4k damage, right? So it's only typically it's like only 1k difference in damage, right? So it's not that big of a damage difference. Yes, if you want to go for max damage, you're gonna have to practice and actually use motion input all the way through. But like I said, if you want to talk about consistency and you don't want to be dropping your combos all the time, go ahead and use motion input if you have to. If it stays consistent, if you're able to consistently land your combos, that's a net damage overall versus like constantly dropping your combos, right? Like if a lot of people struggle with like the DP inputs, right? Doing DP, I personally don't like down inputs, right? And especially in the middle of a combo, down is a little awkward. And then the biggest one of all is the half circle motion, right? The one that a lot of people don't like is the half circle. I would rather have the double quarter circle forward like in Street Fighter, but it is what it is. Its Arc System works. They have a lot of, there's a lot of DNA from like their past games of like Guilty Gear and Dragon Ball Fighters. But anyways, yeah, that's pretty much it. That's what I call modern weaving. And I have two examples here that I've recorded on the training dummy right here. So the first one is, I believe it is modern input. So it's just going to show you a combo from Carnage. This is not an optimal combo, by the way, but it's just an example to show you the difference in the damage. So here we go. Yeah, so this is the modern input for the level, I call it level 3, but they're his ultimate right here. So we can see that it does 52,980, right? That's with the modern input. So basically the combo structure that I just showed you, every single input that I did was the motion input all the way until the very end, where I had to do the half circle, which is, for me, it's still a little bit difficult to do, right? I still gotta practice it. So here, at the very end to do his ultimate skill, I did the modern input. And then I'll show you now the second recording that I did. And this is full motion input, okay? Even the ultimate is done with a half circle. And I'll show you the difference in damage. So you can look on the right hand side, you can see that I did a full half circle motion for this ultimate. And the damage comes out to be 54,030. And that is literally 1,050 damage difference. It's really not that big of a difference in damage, in terms of damage, right? Again, if you're going for max damage, I'm sorry, you're gonna have to practice the half circle and get better at it. But it goes back to being consistent, right? If you are struggling with any of the inputs, like it doesn't have to be the quarter circle, like the down. There are times where I use the quick input for down downs instead of, you know, doing the actual down down. Or even DP motions, right? If you're struggling with a combo structure that has DP motions, go ahead and weave in using the quick input. It's not that big of a damage loss overall when you're consistently landing the combo, right? If you're consistently landing combos, again, that is a net damage gain versus constantly dropping your combos because you can't do a motion input, right? So that's pretty much it. As you practice with like motion inputs and you get better and better at it, try to like do as many motion inputs as you can, but only weave in the parts where you can't, right? Like especially DP motions. I know a lot of people don't like DPs. Go ahead and use the modern inputs, right? Again, it's not that big of a damage loss. Is if 90% of your combo is done with motion inputs and only like 1 or 2 is done with like a quick input, so be it. You know, it's still the damage, right? If the difference is getting a kill, and like if you know the combo is gonna kill your opponent versus you dropping the combo, like why not use it, right? So yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. That's really simple. Hope that helps you guys out. But for those of you who are like really into doing only motion inputs, a small tip about the half circle back forward motion is that it's kind of like Guilty Gear, where it only requires the cardinal directions. And what I mean by that is like literally the forward, down, back, forward. You don't need the diagonal inputs in order to do the ultimate, right? So if I, with Carnage, if I do that, see, it comes out, right? So you don't need the diagonal inputs. And this is heavily going to depend on the controller that you're using. Like if you're on gamepad or if you're on stick, it's not going to matter as much because you can just roll your thumb back and then like, or roll the stick back. But I play on leverless. And the thing that I noticed for me is that if I piano my fingers too quickly, you can see like right there, right? I'm literally missing the down input, right? It's completely missing the down input. So that's a user error. That's on me, right? So slow it down a little bit when you're doing like your half circle back forward motions. I know it sounds easier said than done. It's only going to come with practice, especially in the middle of like a long combo string at the end of a combo string. You got to do this like half circle motion, and you have to do it in reverse too and get comfortable with doing it in reverse so that you don't mess it up, right? Like see right there, I messed it up. I don't have the down input, right? So that happens with me, especially when I'm playing with leverless. But yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. That's it for the video. I hope the tips help you out. I hope, you know, weaving helps you guys out, help you guys stay consistent. But yeah, let me know if it helps you down in the comments below. And if you guys got any other tips for the community, just put it all down below. And I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.